live
Meeting
demo.
recording has started.
Today our topic is Avaya Cloud Office. We're excited to have everybody on. A few things before I hand it off to our presenter. You'll find a chat box on your screen. Mine's up to the top right. Just click that and you can type any question you have in there. And we will moderate those throughout the webinar. So if anything comes up, just let us know. Other things that I get, we do get a lot of requests for recordings. If you want a copy of that or have additional questions after the webinar, you can contact your SKC account executive. If you're not sure who that is, you can contact marketing@skccom.com for a copy of that. And I'll go through that again at the end of the webinar just to remind you. And now I'm going to hand it off to our first presenter, Chloe English. She's a public cloud specialist at Avaya. Chloe, hand it over to you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, Lacey. Welcome, everyone. So glad you could join this morning. My name is Chloe English. I am a public cloud sales specialist here at Avaya, located in the great Detroit, Michigan. Yes, I am a Lions fan, but we're not going to talk about the game last Sunday against the Ravens. Also, who's joining me this morning is Pete Foreman. He is the sales engineer. He will be handling the second half of the demo today, demonstrating admin portal. He is a Packers fan as well, so our conversation's never dull. I wanted to take the next 30 minutes or so to demonstrate what Avaya Cloud Office is, or ACO, which is the cool tech acronym we use here. What ACO is and how it can transform your business operations by simply doing three things: consolidating, modernizing, and meeting your budget. Following that, Pete Foreman will be demonstrating Admin Portal, like I said earlier. That is where you're really going to manage your entire system, from adding and removing users, setting up IBR and auto attendant, looking at performance reports, et cetera, et cetera. So what you're about to see is a communications platform that wears all of the hats in your business. It allows you and your team to receive calls, make calls, text, chat, collaborate with audio and video conferencing, all on one platform. So it also has a lot of other features that keep you and your team organized, like task management, as well as handling over 200 integrations with leading CRM systems like Salesforce, Microsoft, and a lot of productivity tools and suites. So it is a lot different than what our on-premise systems allow for. With that being said, I'm going to share my screen and get started. Let me know when you guys can see my screen. All good?
Yep.
Got it. Okay, guys, so this is really what Avaya Cloud Office is going to look like when you launch it from your desktop. It's pretty clean. I did create a specific demo room for this SKC webinar. This is where you're going to be doing a lot of your real-time chatting with your teammates. As you can see here, I did add a few people from my internal Avaya team, just so you guys could see what it looks like to do some real-time chatting. You can do some file sharing in here. You do have unlimited file sharing with ACO. You have the option to pin and unpin certain documents. So if you create a specific demo space, say, with your payroll team, and you have some documents that you need to get quick and easy access to, this allows you to filter through some of that. So it just keeps you organized instead of going through your folders on your desktop. On the top right here, this is the dial pad. So again, pretty self-explanatory. I am going to demonstrate what it would look like if you did conduct a phone call from a soft phone like this. So I did call my personal cell phone right here, but once you do start a phone call from your desktop, ACO gives you the option to hold, transfer, record the call. So once you do hit record, it is going to alert the other party that they're being recorded, FYI. To park it, or what's really great about ACO is it gives you the option to flip the call to your ACO mobile app, or if you did have a Avaya J-Series phone, that option would show up as well. So if you needed to take a phone call from your desktop to your cell phone and continue on with your business, it gives you the option to do so. If it's with an internal member, you could switch it to a video call if you guys needed to dig a little deeper and share your screen, whatever you needed to do. ACO's got your back, so that's really nice. Next here, obviously we have favorites, direct messaging, any one-on-one messages, your teams. Again, I'm not gonna spend too much time. You guys know the deal when it comes to direct messaging. Next, if you jump to the video tab, what's really, really great about ACO is it does integrate with Outlook as well as Google Calendar. So whatever is on your calendar in your email, it's going to reflect on your ACO app as well. As you can see here, these are some of the meetings I have today. You can start a video call and add people to that existing call. You can schedule one. And I did want to show you guys, it does set the details of the meeting, so you can set any security parameters here. And once you do click schedule, it does automatically have it set for you. You can add anyone that you need, send it out, and join via the ACO link. So I use this feature every single day. It's super helpful. Any video recordings. What's great about ACO is meetings are no longer optional. So if you have a huge staff meeting and you need, some people are sick or traveling, you do have the option to record it and distribute it to some of your team members once it's completed. So that's helpful. And please, anyone, just jump in if I'm going too fast, and if you need me to go through something again, just let me know. So the phone tab, this is where all of your inbound, outbound calls are going to show up. Any call recordings, like I mentioned before, are going to show up here. Any voicemail. What's great about some of our voicemail is it is transcribed, which is really great. If you're on a meeting and you get a voicemail and you need to respond to someone quickly, you get some of the gist of the issue that they're calling about. So that's great. Any faxing. So I don't use the fax option too often, but for those of you that do use faxing quite frequently, like I mentioned earlier, this is all coming from one number, your ACO number, so you can send and receive faxes from that one Avaya Cloud Office phone number. So that's also super helpful, as well as any SMS text messaging. So this is, like I conducted earlier on the dial pad, this is my personal cell phone number. So if you did send out a text message, it would show up as your Avaya Cloud Office number. And then you can just, text as you normally would. So if you needed to text a customer or a family member, whoever it is, ACO does give you that option. Contacts, again, pretty self-explanatory stuff. Any internal ACO users with the same domain are going to show up under company, and any external would be under guests. Again, just pretty self-explanatory stuff. Like I mentioned in my intro, the task management side of things, I actually do use this quite frequently. It does give you the option to stay organized with some of your team members. So like I mentioned, if you needed someone to do payroll for some of your team members, you would just create a specific room, put the task title. Let's say I needed to assign it to my teammate Natasha Sohn. She needed to do it every month, needed to start it today, whatever time, post and close, pick a due date, we'll say tomorrow. Boom. And then once that task is created, it does go into that specific space. They do get alerted via email and ACO, and you'll be alerted once it's completed as well. Are there any questions so far in the chat, Lacey, that you can see, or Kyle?
Not any so far, but I see some people typing.
Okay, wonderful. So I know I went through that rather quickly, but that is really Avaya Cloud Office from a bird's eye view. I know I feel like I did go through that. Oh, as you can see, Natasha knows that I'm a huge Packers fan, so God. She's funny. But does anyone need me to go through anything with the unified communication aspect of ACO? I'm happy to do so. Any questions with the soft client, I'm happy to go through again before I pass this to Pete.
We do have some people typing. So, okay, here's the first question. Can you set fax numbers for individual users?
Yeah, Pete, correct me if I'm wrong. every Avaya Cloud Office user gets a specific extension, and they would be able to send and receive fax from that extension. Is that correct, Pete?
Correct. So every user will have their own direct line or their own DID that not only acts as their outbound caller ID and to receive phone calls, but also will act as their own eFax line. So that number you can send text from it, make calls, as well as receive and send faxes.
Okay, awesome. Next question, can you elaborate on the persistent chat and how that works for different teams and groups in the chat?
Kelsey, can you, what do you mean by that? Are you saying people that have an external domain and you want to invite them to an ACO room to have some direct messaging? Is that what you're referring to?
Correct. Just kind of mentioning how if you start a team a couple months ago and you have a new hire and you want them to be a part of that team, how does that look for that new hire joining that group specifically? Can they see the files? Are they able to see the previous messages so that you don't have to start a new team chat for a new hire?
Yep, so it is pretty easy to add any team members. You would just enter their email address, or if they're an existing Avaya Cloud Office user, you would be able to just type in their name. But if you wanted to add them via email, they can use Avaya Cloud Office. Pete, correct me if I'm wrong. Would they be able to see any of the previous messages after they're added?
Yes, so chat history will remain in that chat. So anytime you add new guests, new users, or new members, or new admins, they'll see the previous chat history in there.
Okay,
Answer your
good.
question, Kelsey.
Yep.
Sorry, got it.
Okay, next question, back to the fax question. Can you set up a group fax number that can be shared by a group or team?
So users are able to send faxes on behalf of one of your other users or one of your company faxes via email rather than using the application itself. So yes.
Perfect. And then what is the max number of participants on a group call?
For
Yeah.
an ad hoc audio call, so if a user were just to add multiple other users to a phone call, you are able to have 9 concurrent calls. But for an audio conference call that's scheduled, you can have up to 1,000 participants.
Holy cow.
And for video, it's over 200, right, Pete? Or under 200?
Up to 200, correct.
Up to 200, yeah.
Okay, I think that's all the questions for now. Great questions. Keep them coming.
All right, Pete, I'm going to stop sharing and hand it to you for admin.
Okay, I will start sharing my screen. And let me know when everyone's able to see that.
We can see it.
Awesome. So I'm in our self-service web or administrative portal, as you'll hear me call it throughout this. Great tool for for your administrators. Come in, administer new users, customize your auto attendance, set up call queues, call monitoring groups, assign some devices, as well as go through some analytics. First thing I'll jump into is our users tab. So a quick thing to mention as well, going through this, part of our implementation process when you're ready to move forward with the Avaya Cloud Office is us gathering those user email addresses and sending out activation emails. So down the line, if your business is scaling up, we need to add new users to our team here. Very easy to do. Just jumping in here and I can click add users. We'll choose what if they're domestic here in the US or if I need an international number. And then when I go through this, it's very simple to do. I'm just adding how many licenses I need. I can choose a state and then area code that I want to represent this user's outbound caller ID. So maybe they're located in Arkansas and I want them to have a Fayetteville area code. And these will be new numbers. So while I'm setting up these users as well, I can also select some devices for them. So I could choose some of our J series phones, but if I jump into others, I can also choose the desktop application Chloe had just previously showed. But once you purchase those 5 new licenses, they're now in this unassigned extensions tab so that you can go ahead and assign them to new users. Apologies, they're actually not currently in here right now. So as you see, we don't have any new ones at the moment. Also within here, we have roles. So you can assign roles to users. You'll see some of them come as predefined, ones that come with the system. You have the ability to create custom roles as well. So handy tool if you really need to pick and choose certain permission levels for individual users so that they can be unique to each one of your teammates. In our phone system tab here, under auto receptionist, this is where we can customize our auto attendant or that first IVR that's greets our customers when they call in. So we can set up company hours. Ultimately, that's what our night or business hours and after hours auto attendant's going to follow. So we can set up a 9 to 5 here. And then when we jump into our IBR settings here, we can see that we have different rules for business hours and after hours. So if it was a traditional 9 to 5, anything between 9 to 5 will be our business hours settings. And then anything before 9 or after 5 would be our after hours. So right now we can play a quick company greeting. Ours might just say, if you know your party's extension, please dial it now. If they don't make any selections, then or they press 0, we're going to send them to a specific user, or in this case, we have them sent to a call queue. So we can customize those rules there. Right here is custom answering rules, a handy feature if you are planning holiday hours ahead of time, or you want to set up some specific rules for some of your options here. So caller ID, think of your customer calling in. If you don't feel comfortable handing out your direct line, I can program a rule in here that anytime your customer calls into the system, the Avaya Cloud Office will recognize the phone number that's calling in. So say I want to make it my cell phone number here. Add, jump into that define call handling rule. So anytime my cell phone number calls our local number, I can play a quick greeting. Or again, if I just didn't feel comfortable handing out my direct line, I can bypass that greeting and have it go directly to a user. So a few other options here. If your customers own multiple phone numbers here, you can come in here, set up different rules for each one of the numbers you own that are called. And then, of course, last option, date and time. So thinking holiday hours, you can plan these ahead of time, set it and forget it. But jumping back over here now, in our IBR editors, if you need to build additional IBRs, not just rely on your auto attendant here, we have a few different ways we can build them. I can build them in a visual IBR editor for those that enjoy a more visual IBR tree. So I can start it. This again, maybe this will be my greetings. I can program some of the other settings here. So here's my extension info, my prompt, what it is that I want to use. So I can upload a WAV or an MP3 file or create a text-to-speech option here. And then lastly, key presses. So these will be your generic pound, star, and then what happens if they don't make any selections. So I can just go ahead and hit done. And then I can start to build the other arms to this tree. So I can hit plus sign. Maybe the first key press is going to be a user extension. That second key press is going to be a voicemail. And lastly, that third key press will be a dial by name directory. So you see, I haven't programmed any of these key presses to go to an actual destination yet. So I'll still try and save it though, as if I wanted to use it. So you'll see this error message pops up. So you can feel confident as you're building these IBR trees that they actually have to work, that they have to have a destination here before you can go live. So first, let me go ahead and populate these with some places to go. So I'll look for myself here. And so we filled in each of those key presses. I can now go ahead and validate it. All your settings are valid. And now I can save this and actually go GA with it and publish it so that users, when they're calling in, they're going to hear this IVR. So let me jump back. Scrolling on down here now, jumping into groups. So within groups, this is where we can create any call queues or hunt groups, set up some of those delegated lines, or if you're familiar with the on-premise world, they're also known as bridge call appearances. We could also do call monitoring. So if any of your teammates need to do things like whisper, barge, or take over, maybe for training purposes. And then lastly, we have these two free extensions down here. So message only extension is a free voicemail box that you can set up. And think if in the future any pesky sales callers like Chloe call in, you can send her straight to voicemail and then just have someone check that voicemail box at the end of the week. That announcement only extension, another free tool. Think holiday hours, maybe promotions that you want to make the public aware of. But rather than having them call in and speak to a live person just to tell them what's going on, they can click a a key press from the IBR that says, press 5 for holiday hours or promotions, and then you can play a quick announcement with a wave or an MP3 file again, or even record your own. Scrolling down lastly here, phones and devices. So again, there are a lot of different devices that you can use with the Avaya Cloud Office. It's not limited to just the computer application that Chloe had showed previously. You can also assign physical desk phones to users. To do it, very easy to do so. I'm just going to search for someone I need to assign a desk phone to. You can just jump right in here. I'll click change phone under their current device. I didn't purchase this phone from the portal here directly, so I'll choose that last option. Where is this phone going to be located? I'm just going to keep going along here. So next, we'll choose a device. So we can choose from our J-series desk phones as well as a few third-party supported devices. But let's say it's the new J179 that I'm setting up here. All I need to do is on the back of that phone is put in the MAC address here. That next finish tab will prompt me with an enrollment key. That will now let me know to tell my user, go ahead, plug your phone in, give it some connection. The phone's going to automatically update. And then once it all gets through all that, it'll now prompt that user with an enrollment key. They can put that in. They can start using the phone, making and receiving calls right away. It does take only about 5 minutes to do so. So we went through now kind of managing the phone system. We're going to segue next into our analytics piece here. So first, we'll jump into our meetings tab. If you do recordings, much like the one we're in now, you need to, as an administrator, kind of check in, view other recordings or video recordings, or download them for future use. I can come into this recording management tab, click my 3 dots here, and download these recordings. If I jump into my reports tab, I can go check my call logs here. Again, from a super administrative setting, much like my own, I'm able to see all users and their call logs. That can be restricted where if an individual like Chloe comes in here, she might only see her personal call log. So you can restrict access from who sees what. But in this tab also is where I'm able to see audio recordings, listen to them, as well as download them. So these call logs do last for about a year. So in order to always retain this data, if it's important to you, one, I can manually come in here, download my call logs or just those recordings, but I also have this ability to set up a delivery setting. So I can have this report emailed to me daily, weekly, or monthly on whatever frequency is that you're looking for. I can put those email addresses here. I can have several email addresses if multiple managers need to review these reports. Okay. Now jumping into our actual analytics tab so we can see more in depth what our users are doing day to day in Avaya Cloud Office. So I'm going to change our range.
Hey, Pete, we actually have a couple questions that are coming in. Could we, before we get too far, could we answer?
Sure.
All right. The one we have here, and it's 2 parts. The non-admin app, the previous app from Chloe, is it browser only or a desktop app?
Comes in a few different forms. So you can access the Avaya Cloud Office in the browser. You can download the app to your computer, as well as you can download an app to your mobile device.
Okay, that should be. So if it's both, is there an app in the Apple Store? I ask because Microsoft Teams works on Apple devices, but due to them not having an Apple Store app, it causes a lot of freezes and broken audio.
Yes, yep. If you have an Apple device, you can go ahead and just search for Avaya Cloud Office. Same if you have an Android, you can search in the Google Play Store for Avaya Cloud Office.
Okay, the next one is deck compatibility.
Yep, yeah, we do have a few deck phones that work with Avaya Cloud Office. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but there are a few.
I'll get back to you on that, Matt.
Okay, that's what we have for now. Thank you.
Cool. All right, so where we are now in our analytics, we're looking at adoption and usage. So this is a 10,000 foot view, just trying to give us some quick insight. What's my team using Avaya Cloud Office for? Are they collaborating using the GLIP message feature? Are they hosting video meetings? Are they using it for traditional telephony? I can jump into each one of those features here at the top, just to kind of get some more information. So we have a few different KPIs here. Again, just different metrics to give us more insight on what the team's using our messaging feature for. I can scroll down, see which one of our team rooms have the most participation as far as number of posts go, or I can see which rooms have the most members in it. I can jump to my video tab, see which one of my users are hosting the most meetings, who has the most meeting minutes. And similarly, I can look at phone calls, see which one of my users are making the most phone calls, has the most meeting minutes. But if I also click those tabs here, I can see the reverse. I can see which users are making the least calls and having the least amount of talk minutes. So again, just a 10,000 foot view, quick screenshot what the team's using. If I want to dive more deeper into those specific calls and see a cradle to grave look at it, I can jump into my performance reports here. So again, changing this range from yesterday to last month. I'll open this up as we have a few different KPIs that we can look at for our calls. I can also customize our graph here, looking with our KPIs that we offer, just to see some different bits of information. So maybe I want to look at percent inbound versus percent outbound. And then I could scroll down and actually look at specific users. So we'll start with Adam here. I can click on Adam. I can see call direction if this was an inbound call to Adam or if Adam had placed an outbound call, where that call, where that end destination of that phone number was, who was calling, the result, if it was an inbound call, if Adam was able to answer it, if it's an outbound call, if he was able to reach the person he was calling. I can see the length of time that call took place. And if I actually click on these calls, I can see how long that call rang Adam's extension before he was able to answer it, how long they actually spoke for before that call was disconnected here. So though, if this Carlo was placed on hold, transferred to a different user, I would see all those steps and to who that call was transferred to, eventually leading to that disconnection. So I can look at this for calls, um, for specific users. And if you want to just focus more so on your call queues or hunt groups, I can also just focus on those. So again, I'm going to click on queues here, scroll on down to our cloud concierge queue. Same KPIs up at the top, similar graph that we have, but now my user information is specifically catered to this call queue. So I pick on Daniel here. I can see 7 calls over the last month that he's answered from queue here. If I were to get rid of this call queue option here, it'll take away that. It'll now show me all calls, not just that he received to his direct line, but as well as ones that he's received through queue. So you can kind of just pick and match which ones you're looking for. And if I click one that sat in queue, I can see how long that caller sat in queue for before Daniel was able to answer it. So if you're interested in keeping up with and measuring SLA times, you're able to not only from this view, but also using our live reports. So our live reports here are specifically going to be for our call queues. So here's a dashboard that we have created. Few different bits of information that we're able to see here. I can see call volume for the queue for the day, current agent statuses or call queue statuses, are callers sitting in queue, any currently speaking with an agent, or they've been placed on hold, my agent status, whether available, being wrong, talking, or unavailable, and then some more agent details, kind of statuses and history for what they've done today. So we can customize these, allow users permissions to view these reports, as well as create new ones. Last tab I'll get into here is our quality of service tab. So this tool, handy tool, again, with COVID and everything now, users might be spread out all over. Some working from home, some working from different offices or shared spaces. So this is a way to monitor that if any of your users are experiencing issues with the Avaya Cloud Office, if it's a connectivity issue related to their internet connection, or if there's a more underlying meaning pertaining to one of our data centers where this application is actually being hosted. So I could look at things like the users' internet providers that they're using, types of devices that our users are using, and then how they're connected to the actual internet, whether it be Wi-Fi, Ethernet, or they're using their mobile data. I can use our tabs here at the top. So maybe I want to look at specific user extensions. I can see how my call qualities went for the past 7 days, total number of calls. So this average score and minimum score, that's your MOS performance score. That MOS performance score is just an agreed upon score of call quality, looking at things like jitter, packet loss. We can also see where our calls have been hosted as far as which data centers our calls took place in. And if I jump into meetings here, I can see real-time meetings that are going on. And if I click into them too, I can see what users are participating in this meeting, um, what type of, what they're doing in the meeting right now. It looks like they're just all joining on audio. A few individuals had shared their screen, but nobody had actually gotten on camera, so we could see that there. If I jump into a different meeting, maybe say this one. Oh, apologies. With this, typically we're able to see, if I can get a good one here, some meeting qualities, again, persistent throughout the whole meeting. But it doesn't look like anyone's got any good examples there. So let's move on to calls next here. So similar to meetings, I can also see in real time call qualities that's going on. So I'll jump into Ken's call here. So I can see Ken's call quality from him to our server, from the server back down to the client, and vice versa. And in this, I can also see the type of device my teammates are using, where they're located, and the type of internet provider. Again, just trying to narrow down if any of these users are experiencing connectivity issues, if it's a Avaya Cloud Office, or just more so maybe where they're located in the connection they're using. But that is all I had for our admin portal and analytics. Um, let's jump into some questions, and then Lacey, I'll pass it back to you.
Perfect. I'll go ahead and read through some of the questions. We do have Kelsey Kimball here, one of our cloud specialists. She's been answering in response via text, so you can read through some of those as well. One of my current issues is robocalls. Is there a way to filter those out through this admin console and add individual numbers we would like to block?
Yes, there is
Perfect.
an auto robo blocking option, and yes, we can add additional numbers to that.
Perfect. And then a question that Kelsey already answered, I'll just read aloud both for the group. Do we provide the KPIs or do we have to build them? And she said, you can elaborate, Pete, if you want to, but KPIs are available. You can customize your specific reports you would like displayed. Another question, would we be able to set up a manager to get these reports for their direct reports?
Yep. Yes. So with those analytics, let me go ahead and share my screen again so I could show that. Within those analytics here, once we're here, I can actually go to performance reports and save a new report, whatever I have set up here, and then use our subscriptions tab and have those reports emailed to myself, other additional managers on that frequency that we're looking for. So similar to the call logs, I can have that emailed to us, again, on whatever frequency.
Perfect. A question that was answered as well, is there a way to bulk import users? Yes, Kelsey said during number porting, you have the opportunity to bulk import all users at one time.
Right. Yep.
And I think I got through the questions asked so far. So if the audience has any others, just go ahead and type them in the chat box. This would also be a good opportunity, Chloe or Pete, if you have any additional comments or anything before I close it out. Now would be a great time.
Yep, Matthew Morris, I am gonna get back to you on that phone question. So expect an email from me or Kyle.
And we do have some people typing, so we'll hang out here just a little bit. He said thanks, Chloe. While we let these last few questions come in, again, if you want more information or a more in-depth demo or other details, you can contact your SKC account executive. If you're not sure who that is or one has not been assigned, you can contact me at marketing@skccom.com, or you can even respond to the email that I sent earlier this morning just as a reminder with the link to join, and I can get you directed to the right person. And then here's the next question. My manager will ask me this: how would you say this is different than Zoom Cloud? We could follow up if that, after the fact, if you guys prefer that way.
Yeah, we do have a lot of it is splitting hairs most of the time, but with Avaya Cloud Office, something that I know Zoom obviously doesn't do is we don't outsource our support, so we have a dedicated customer success team that's there to ensure you have a successful deployment. And also we assign one point of contact for the entirety of the sale. Once you sign up with the Avaya Cloud Office and, post sale, there's someone there that can support you and troubleshoot any issues that you might have. I know some of our competitors don't do that. But I can also send a battle card that explains the differences as well. But sometimes it's splitting hairs with a lot of these cloud solutions.
Awesome. And it looks like Kelsey said that she'd love to set up a follow-up meeting. CMS will no longer be needed as an adjunct, and Kelsey said that's correct. It replaces your current phone system. Keep the questions coming. I like it. We'll give it a couple more minutes here.
Looks like that is it, Lacey.
All right. Well, again, thanks everybody for your time. Avaya, thanks for doing your demo today. Like we mentioned, SKC has a ton of experts that know all the details, ins and outs of this system. So we'd love to meet with you afterwards if you have any questions or interest. Thanks everybody for your time. And some people said thank you back. So have a good day.